At the close of the Rio Earth Summit in 1992, a 12-year-old girl made a plea that was later described as one of the most memorable moments of that gathering.
I am only a child, yet I know if all the money spent on war was spent on finding environmental answers, ending poverty, and finding treaties, what a wonderful place this earth would be. In my life, I have dreamt of seeing the great herds of wild animals, jungles and rainforests, full of birds and butterflies. But now I wonder if they will even exist for my children to see. Well, what you do makes me cry at night. You grown-ups say you love us, but I challenge you, please, make your actions reflect your words.
After giving that speech, I really felt that I'd been able to reach people emotionally, which was the goal of my speech, which was to remind all those delegates and politicians and lawyers and professionals that their first identity were as parents and as brothers and sisters and as human beings. And judging from the reaction, I thought, wow, maybe I really reached them. But in the next few years, in the last 10 years, I don't know if that's true.
Children were again invited to speak at the Johannesburg Summit.
We were just babies when you met 10 years ago in Rio. What we are about to say is basically the same thing you heard then, and many times since.
We are worried that many governments are easily bought off by those who care very little for the environment and people. Remember, we cannot buy another planet, and our lives and those of future generations depend on this. We know that when people commit crimes, they are sent to jail. Why is it so difficult to punish countries and people who damage the environment and harm us? We are not asking too much. You said this summit is about taking action. We need more than your applause and comments of well done or good speech. We need action.
When we started on Monday, children came and essentially said, you know what is wrong. You know what to do. Do it.
Speak to youth, speak to people, tell them what the environment is about. Tell them the plight of the environment.
Is that we can make the world leaders understand that they have to consider us and the decisions they make when they are talking regarding climate change.
Because you all need to be considered. You are Generation Earth. We need to consider what you need.
My question is basically asking, from the presidency side and South Africa's side, who is going to represent us as the youth from the ministry and from the presidency?
And how does it get to COP17?
Yeah, and how does the message from us, all of us here, get to COP17?
Okay. There's a very good slogan that was used in the UN context by disabled people. And the slogan is, nothing about us without us. And I think the youth voice needs to be strong and resonant. And I know that in the context of the wider COP17, there's space for a youth voice. And so I will try and establish how that youth voice needs to be heard, can be heard, and give you feedback on it. But I know that in the meetings that I've co-chaired over this year in the UN context, at every meeting we've had, community-based organizations from the youth sector have actually addressed the meeting. So in what is called the side events, I'm sure there will be a big discussion about young people, what their contribution is to driving change. So I want to say to you, Litha, don't depend on the presidency, depend on the voice of youth and ensure that they are properly mandated to represent the interests of the next generation. I will find that out and come back to you on that.
It is here. This is where the change starts.